I'm going to talk you through the first page of this, and then you're going to work on the rest of it together, probably in pairs. Going for a walk. So these are story problems. It's not really a story, but it has a scenario. We're going to work on the table, the constant proportionality, the equation, and then we'll talk about these other two boxes. They're a little different. Miss Johnson walks at a rate of 2 miles per hour. X is the hours and Y is the miles walked. Okay, so I'm going to start with this, 2 miles per hour. So if she walks 0 hours, that means she would, of course, walk 0 miles. So 1 hour is kind of what this is talking about, 2 miles per 1 hour. So that means in 1 hour, she walks 2 miles. And I think you can already see what the constant of proportionality is when it goes from 1 mile to 1 hour to 2 miles. That means it's multiplied by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the constant of proportionality. Oops, sorry. Okay. 2, she walks 2 miles an hour. That makes it 4 miles. And then as you can see, you keep multiplying by 2. And you have the table completed. Okay, as we've said, when you write the equation, it starts with the letter that represents the second column. That would be Y. Next, you write the constant of proportionality, which is 2, times the first column, which is X. So this equation is Y equals 2X. Okay, here's the part that's a little bit interesting. So after you have these 3 parts worked, you go to this, write your own question and answer. So think about what question a teacher might get asked about this problem. It might be something like, how many miles would she walk if she walked 4.5 hours? So that's what question I'm going to put. It's hard for me to write one-handed. Okay, how far would Miss Johnson walk? I'm going to pause this and write. No, I'm not. In 4.5 hours. Okay, so you're just writing a question that can be answered with this problem. Okay, this part we're pretty familiar with. This part you just have to think about what questions I might ask. This part is new. What you're going to do is you're going to take the data that's in the table and you're going to use points on the graph to represent that data. So the first says when she walks 0 hours, she walks 0 minutes. So on the graph, you find that 0 hours, 0 minutes would be a dot right there. The next one says that in 1 hour, she walks 2 miles. So you go to the graph, 1 hour, 2 miles, and you find the point that corresponds to those. Okay, the third one. When she walks for 2 hours, she goes 4 miles. 2 hours, 4 miles. Find that dot. And if you do this correctly, they're going to be in a straight line. 3 hours, 6 miles. And 4 hours, 8 miles. So we have the scenario. We have a table that represents the scenario. The constant of proportionality, which is the unit rate of that table and scenario. The equation that represents the situation. The graph that represents the situation, and this is the new part that we haven't done before. And then a question that your teacher might ask about that. Okay, this is an example of how to do this. As you can see, you have several different ones to complete. You might need a calculator on some of those. When you get to the last page, okay, it says create your own. So you're going to come up with your own story with your own labels, and this should be the fun part.